Okay. I'm going to introduce you. Everyone, this is trainer John Scully. He's the trainer of the light heavyweight champion Chad Dawson, among others. John, you had a fight this Saturday. I'm sorry, your fighter Chad Dawson had a fight this Saturday against Andre Ward. You found the losing end, but what can you tell us about Saturday night?
It was a very tough night. I mean, Chad, after the fight, Chad was obviously very, very, very gracious. He was not a sore loser. He made no excuses. He said the best man won, and I agree that Andre Ward is a great fighter. Probably with his recent resume, he should probably be number one pound for pound with all the people he's beaten in the last year and a half. But it doesn't change the reality that Chad, making weight was I was there. Making weight was very, very strenuous on him. It was very tough. He didn't move to the fight 100%. Maybe he loses anyway. I don't know. But Chad deserves to have people know that the weight turned out to be a much bigger problem than we had originally anticipated. And he just didn't have it. He just had nothing to hold the guy off. But Andre Ward did everything he was supposed to, and definitely it was the case that the better man that night definitely won.
Okay. At what point did you notice that making the weight was going to be harder at 168 than you actually thought?
Well, to be honest with you, let me just be clear on something so you understand how the camp works. Like, I'm the boxing trainer. I'm not a strength coach or a nutritionist. So he has a guy that does all that, and so I have to, defer to that guy. So, we were going along for a few weeks, 5 weeks actually, in training camp in Las Vegas, and so we checked on the weight one day, and his weight was still extremely high. So, I was saying, what's going on? Like, what are we doing here? We're not losing the weight like we thought. And, they just kept saying, don't worry about it. It's gonna come off. And, it just never really did. It just, sometimes you anticipate something is gonna happen. And then when it doesn't happen, by the time you realize it's not gonna happen, it's too late. You know what I mean? And you have to adjust, and you have to, make adjustments to make it happen. So Chad had to do more than we originally anticipated him doing, and it just wasn't a good situation. That's just the reality of it.
Right. For those who don't know, Axel Murillo is a strength and conditioning coach.
Right.
Did Axel express any concerns about the weight?
No, he actually didn't. I talked to him about it, and he remained upbeat the whole time. He kept saying, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. But the body is a funny thing, and what works for one guy doesn't work for another always. And the way it falls off, the weight falls off for one guy, another guy maybe it doesn't happen that way. So Chad's body, I guess, just kind of hit the wall, I guess they say, and it just wouldn't cooperate. After a certain point, it just wouldn't cooperate. And, as you can see in the fight, I want to be a gracious loser, and I don't want to take anything from Andre. I really don't. I hate to do that, but I have to express the reality of it. And anyone that boxes and has been through that type of situation, if you look at Chad, if you look at the fight, it's very clear what was happening. His body was not responding. His legs, Chad's fought some strong punches at light heavy, and and swallowed the punches no problem. And here he was just getting touched, and his legs were all over the place at times. That's clearly an indication of something more than just being hurt by the guy's punching power. If you remember, I'll give you an example. When Chris Bird went down to light heavyweight to fight George there, and if you remember, when Chris was getting hit, this is the guy who took punches from Klitschko and Jamil McCline and all those guys. Samuel Peter, I think he fought, and George was hitting him. Sean George was hitting, and Chris's legs were all over the place. I don't think Sean George is a puncher like Vitaly Klitschko, So obviously there was something else at work causing the legs to go.
Right. Now, about 2 weeks before the fight, maybe even less than that, I'm not sure. I heard a rumor, which I didn't make any of it because it was just a rumor about, Shaq was hurt at a sparring match. I think it was against Edison Miranda. Is there any truth to that, about that rumor?
No, and I'll tell you the story. And I know I read it online. One of these matchmakers on his Facebook page, he said, "Oh, I heard this happen, and I talked to someone in the camp." And right then I knew, because our camp is closed. I mean, the windows are blocked out with black sheets. Nobody in there. It's only our people. Chad's brother was there. His strength coach. It's only our people. Nobody talked to anybody in our camp. So rumors start. I would say it's like when Muhammad Ali was fighting, and ticket sales weren't going good, and they would put out rumors that he got knocked out in the gym or he got dropped in the gym to make it, to bring intrigue to the fight or whatever. So, this guy people who say they talked to somebody in the camp, there's no way because it was only us. You know what I mean? So there's no, whoever's making up these stories, I'd love for them to reveal themselves so we could talk face to face and they could tell me exactly what happened, because I know they'll be stumped.
Exactly. After the fight, what exactly, you told Chad, about this fight? I know you know him better than most, anybody he ever trained with. You guys are from Connecticut, you know his family. Like, what things were said to each other?
To be honest with you, I mean, there was so many people around and friends from back home, and we all went out to eat as a big group. So I really didn't get the chance to talk to him one-on-one yet. I haven't even talked to him yet, one-on-one about the fight, because he went right back he actually lives in Las Vegas now, so he went to Las Vegas after the fight, and I went back to Connecticut, so we actually have not talked about the fight. But we will, and I'm just, I'm a very real person. I mean, I'll give him the real recap, and he'll give me the real recap. But I know, I mean, he doesn't want to say, to his credit, he doesn't want to take any credit from Andre, and I really respect that. But by the same token, I don't want to see Chad put in a bad light without people knowing everything that was involved. And, that was just not him. We took the risk and we took the chance, and, I'm not saying anything, we shouldn't have done it or anything like that, but the fact is the weight was just an issue for him.
How about maybe not in the very next fight, but maybe a year from now, a rematch at 175 for Dawson's title? Is that, would that be a possibility, or like, what would you think about that?
I mean, I would love it just for Chad to show people that, the difference. The fact is, Andre's a huge name now, and Chad took a hit, reputation hit. So we have to go and beat Cloud or Pascal, and really, even though we're the champion, we kind of have to earn our way back into a fight of that magnitude. I'm sure we'd love to do it at 175, but it's going to take some building up on Chad's part before he, not just physically and not just in the eyes of the boxing world, but as far as his confidence to go into a rematch like that, we need to go out there and beat Cloud or Pascal, I would say.
Okay. And back to the Andre Ward. I mean, how good do you think Andre Ward is? A lot of people, when he first started Super 6, he wasn't even a favorite. He came out the winner, and now he has all the major belts at 168. I mean, can you tell us, your assessment of how good Andre Ward is?
I'll tell you, the thing about Andre Ward is you watch him and nothing stands out. Like if you didn't know boxing, but you watch Roy Jones in his prime, even if you didn't know what you were looking at, you'd know you were looking at something special. You know what I mean? You look at him and go, wow, this guy's really amazing. Look at the way he does these things. Floyd Mayweather, just the way he's dropping these sneaky punches in, it's like people are defenseless against him. Andre, he doesn't do anything necessarily spectacular looking, but the next thing you know, the opponent is just totally bewildered. I think he's very subtle at his game. He's not flashy, but he's maybe the most effective guy outside of Mayweather in the whole entire sport.
Okay. And what did you tell Andre after the fight? Could you comment on that?
You know what? I went up to him in the ring. I said, "Listen, you did everything you had to do. I mean, brilliant performance. I mean, I gave him his praise, and he was very gracious back. He said, there's no disrespect, because before the fight, things are always said, and that's just a part of the game. But he said, there's 100% respect here. I appreciate you guys, and I respect you guys." And so it was very gracious. But I told him the truth. I mean, you fought a great fight. You did everything you had to do, and he's a great champion.
Okay. What would you do now? I mean, are you going back to the Lions Den? I mean, it looked like you love Vegas. Are you thinking about relocating?
No, I mean, I've got my gym here in Connecticut. I've got a team. I actually have fights. Some of my amateur kids are fighting this Friday up in Massachusetts, so I have to go to that. No, I mean, I love Vegas, but it's so hot out there, and Vegas is the type of place you can visit it for a little while, but after 8 or 9 weeks, I mean, I was ready to come home. Outside of the Strip, if you're not there with some of your friends, I mean, there's it's just like any other city. There's nothing really special about it. So yeah, I'm happy here in Connecticut. I've got my team. I have to worry about. We have a lot of amateur stuff coming up, and then I actually have a boxer I just started working with who you might be familiar with, Javier Flores. He's from Puerto Rico. He's actually in Connecticut now, and he's undefeated as a welterweight, and very good fighter, big puncher, and I actually just started training him. So we're looking to do some big things with him.
That's great. I saw you hanging out with Shane Mosley a bit. Can you explain your relationship with Shane?
I can't say I know Shane extremely well or anything, but we go back to the amateurs in 1988, the year of the 1980 Olympic trials. We both boxed at the National Golden Gloves. He was 125 pounds, and I was 165 pounds. So we were in the amateurs together. We kind of came up together. He made his name really in 1992 when he went to the Olympic trials and he lost to Vernon Forrest. But I was there when Shane was 16, and he fought in National Golden Gloves. He actually he was 16 years old, and he beat a teammate of mine who was about 27 years old. So, I saw Shane back in the very beginning when he was a young kid.
Okay. I personally saw you with Mike Oliver here in Puerto Rico when he fought Juan Manuel Lopez. Are you still training Michael Oliver?
To tell you the truth, Mike has not really even been in the gym since then. My feeling, being real, Mike, he had his run. He did his thing. I just think he kind of burnt out a little early, and I think you got to understand one thing about Mike Oliver. He's been in the gym since he was 2 years old. He lived in the projects where the gym was. He literally lived probably 50 yards from the gym. He's been there. So this is a kid who's 31 years old who's been boxing for 29 of those 31 years. He had his first fight. Actually, an amazing thing, in 1988, when I was in my last year in the Golden Gloves before I turned pro, Mike used to fight on the undercard. He was only, 8 years old. He used to be on the undercard. They would have him fight the first bout of the night to kind of warm the crowd up. And I remember his feet didn't even hit the ring floor when he sat on the stool between rounds. So this is a guy who's been boxing a long time. He's been boxing longer than a lot of champions. He's champions now. So I think boxing, between having 300 and something amateur fights and all those tough pro fights, I think it kind of warmed down. And my gut feeling is that Mike is at the end of his career.
Okay. Another fighter that you trained to a world title was Jose Antonio Rivera from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I know I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts. I like to say that's my hometown. I lived there for a while. I know Edwin Rodriguez. I know you do. You've been in training camps with him. Jose, I think he's in and out of the game. He comments that he wants another fight, but he can't get a promoter. Do you talk to Jose, and if he is coming out, to have a few more fights, will you be training him?
Actually, I will not. The main reason being, he works a full-time job as a court officer, so he works till 5 in the afternoon, and he lives over an hour from me, driving-wise. So he could never come to train with me like he used to because, by the time he got out of work, by the time he got through the traffic, I mean, he wouldn't even get to me until 7:30 at night. So, unfortunately, because of where we live in relation to each other, I wouldn't be able to work with him. My gut feeling is, Jose is he's been boxing a long time. He's been a pro for a good 20 years, I think. I'm pretty sure he turned pro around 92. That's a long time, and this is a tough weight class he's in. And, with working a full-time job and having, being at that age and having all the fights he's had, if he asked me, I would say it's probably not worth it to continue your career at this point.
Okay. And, Edwin Rodriguez, I know that's a fighter that's come up to your camp a couple times, trained with...
I've started with Edwin many times.
Okay. He has an upcoming fight on the 29th. What can you tell me about Edwin and about his upcoming fight? You know what? Edwin is
a really dedicated kid. He's an awesome body puncher. He's the real deal. He's a fan favorite type of kid. And I'll tell you a funny thing. When he was still an amateur, he just turned pro. He was like 2-0 as a pro, and we sparred. And I had a good day with him. We did good. I did good with him. And then the next time we sparred, I did good again. I had very good. And then what I like about to this day, because I still spar in the gym, every time we talk, he always says to me something about, hey, maybe we get some work sometime. Maybe we can spar again. Because I know he wants to get me. He wants to get me so bad. And I love that about him. Because that's how I am. He'll never forget. I could be 80 years old, and if we spar, he's going to try and even the score. So I really like that about him. That's the type of kid he is. He looks for good sparring. A lot of guys, they want to be the top dog in the gym. But Edwin, he came to camp with Chad Dawson. He's always going around looking for top sparring. So I think Edwin Rodriguez is a legitimate fighter, a top contender, and definitely a potential champion. He's got all the intangibles, besides the skills and the body punching, he's got that extra drive that a lot of fighters don't have.
Okay. And I believe you had amateur fights with Roy Jones Jr. back in, I think, 88, 89. What can you tell me about, how good is Roy Jones, and what can you tell me about those fights you had with him?
Well, we sparred many times, and I was in camps with him as a pro and an amateur. We were in the nationals together, and Roy Jones, that guy, I don't care what anybody says. Roy Jones is the best fighter of the last 20, 30 years. He, people say he doesn't have good technique, and it's all nonsense. All that matters is if you match up, who's going to win the fight. That's the only thing that matters, and people don't beat Roy Jones. The prime Roy Jones doesn't lose. The guy he's too fast, he's too creative, he's too sharp, he hits too hard. He's just, he was everything. I can't say enough about the guy. I've boxed with, in my life, in fights and in sparring, I've boxed with over 1,000 people. I've kept track. I actually have a list of people I've sparred and fought. And he's at the top. If I had to pick one guy, Roy Jones is at the top, and that's including, I've boxed with probably 33 or 34 world champions included, and Roy Jones is the man. I don't care what anybody says. Roy Jones is the man in this time.
Wow. And what about James Toney? I know that you actually got in the ring with him. You spar with him, or
he's number 2. James is number 2 on that list. James Toney is a freak of nature. Probably the toughest guy that I know. And the reason I say that is there's no other guy, 160 pounds, ever, that could move up and fight and trade punches with Samuel Peter, Hassan Rockman, Don Ruiz. That's not happening. And James Toney, despite never having a six-pack of abs, I mean, you've never seen him hurt with a body punch. You've never seen him drop to the body punch. I mean, the guy is a textbook genius in the ring, technique and talent-wise. He's right up there. Like I said, just Roy has that extra speed and flash and combination punching and distance that puts him a little above James. But he's the only one I would put above James Toney.
Okay. Now, you visited Customado's gym 3 months ago around that time. Up in Catskill. What can you talk about? That visit.
It was like walking into a museum. You had that feeling like going to an old. I guess when people go to Gettysburg, the old battleground of the Civil War, and it was special. And what was amazing is I've seen video of when Tyson trained there when Tyson was a kid, and the gym looks exactly like it did when Tyson was there. Like everything is the same. The ring is in the same spot, the bags, same heavy bags, the same posters on the wall. It's just the same facility. So you could actually feel Tyson and Customato. You could feel them in the building. It was really a special place to visit.
Nice. Now, I've seen you on TV. You've been on broadcasters with ESPN and Steve Farhood. Is that anything that could be in your future, broadcasting and commenting on boxing?
I mean, I'm definitely hoping so. I've talked to a few people that have told me that they're actually working on some things, trying to get me situated and hooked up with future jobs. So I'm hopeful. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at it. I think I have a good insight to the game, and hopefully it works out. But I'm definitely open and available.
Now you was in Vegas, so I gotta ask, did you catch the Tyson shot on?
Actually, when I was there, Tyson was in New York. He was doing the New York shows. So I would have caught it, but he wasn't in town when I was there.
Okay, most of the Well, John, I want to thank you for the interview, for conducting us here at Pro Boxing Insider. Is there anything that you want to say to your fans out there? You can go right ahead.
I just, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate that I even have any fans. That's pretty amazing for a kid that grew up just watching boxing. I love boxing. I've been watching it since I was a little kid, and as far as Chad Dawson goes, I know a lot of people are down on him because of the fight, but Chad Dawson is an extremely talented guy, and he's going to be back. He's going to be defending his title at the beginning of next year. So just keep your eyes on Chad Dawson.
Okay, and if anyone wants to reach you, where's the best way to reach you?
Oh, they can email me, icejohnscully@AOL.com. I respond to all my emails. So anybody wants to touch base with me, talk boxing, icejohnscully@AOL.com. Or I have two Facebook accounts. One of them is booked up, like it has too many friends, but I can't accept more. But you can find me on the other one, which is John the Boxer Scully. I have plenty of room on that one, and I'm always on there talking about boxing and putting up articles and stuff like that. So I think any boxing fans would like to be on my page.
Okay. Well, that was John Scully, everyone. We here want to thank him once again for being on our show, and good luck in the future, John. And
thank you. I appreciate it very much. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you.